It's late February and you see them everywhere, blooming in empty fields, around old homesteads. Of course, what I'm talking about are our beautiful and undemanding daffodils. Daffodils are all members of the genus Narcissus, and there are about 13 different types of them, over 26,000 varieties, 10,000 of which were put out before 1940 and are historic daffodils. This messy beauty is a variety called Vanson, and you'll see it in old catalogs looking much neater, but it actually always kind of reverts to this messy bloom. But it's interesting in many ways. For one thing, it's been around since at least 1620, and it's spread all over the place because it was brought here by settlers. You'll often see this one in old homesteads. The other cool thing about it is you can always tell if it's Vanson because of the green in the petals. Very unusual. This one here is a variety called Amadeus Mozart, and it's actually considered a large cup variety, and they call it that because it's not got a long trumpet or corona. It has a cup that's about a third the height of these petals, and this one blooms right after another one I grow, but the great thing about this one is it has this beautiful orange cup. Another large cup daffodil that blooms a little bit before Amadeus Mozart is this one, Ice Follies. And Ice Follies actually starts blooming quite early. It's one of the earliest to bloom for me, and then it persists for weeks and weeks. One of the great things about it is this cup, this large cup, because it is a large cup variety, actually opens out bright, bright yellow, and then over time it fades to paler yellow, and then eventually kind of to an ivory white. It's a very long lasting bloom. Really good. Another one I love to grow is this one. This is Kedron, or Kedron, and it's actually a jonquilla type. And by that it means it has jonquils as a parent. And jonquils are the species of daffodils that actually can have multiple blooms on the stalk. And this one will usually have one, but sometimes it will have two because it is a jonquil. And then finally we have this guy, Jetfire. And Jetfire is a cyclaminius daffodil, and it has a cyclaminius parent. What that means though is it'll have a short little trumpet on it, but it's, you know, in proportion to the petals the same size, but those petals are reflexed back. This one is beautiful, comes out bright orange on the trumpet, then pale yellow, definitely lives up to its name, Jetfire. This variety is Tedet, and it was introduced in 1947. It's an early to mid bloomer. In fact, it blooms quite early here in my garden and blooms quite a long time, like Ice Follies. The good thing about this little miniature daffodil is that it's ideal for forcing indoors. I've done that. And also containers. A lot of people put this one in window boxes and pots, and I do all of that, as well as have it in the ground here in the garden. Another early to mid-spring bloomer is this small cup variety, Barrett Browning. It was introduced in 1943, and it's called a small cup variety because the cup is in proportion to the petals less than 1/3 the size of the petals. It's a beautiful one, as you can see, again, white and orange, very simple, but that bright eye makes it a winner in my garden. Remember, when you plant daffodils, to be on the lookout for interesting things that might happen spontaneously. These Barrett Browning daffodils, normally a single, have spontaneously decided to produce a double sport. So I'll be flagging this and digging up separately and trying to propagate it. This is a large trumpet variety called Mount Hood. And like Ice Follies, it plays a color changing trick. It opens out yellow and then fades to a pale white. This one blooms in mid-spring, and it was introduced in 1938. A beautiful trumpet, especially if you like something that changes color over the season, and this will bloom for at least another 3 weeks. This is the Campernail daffodil, and it's actually a botanical cross between two species. It's the child of the lint lily, a British native daffodil, and the jonquil species daffodil, and it's called Narcissus odorus, and it is odorous, but in a very pleasant way, has a beautiful fragrance, and I love these kind of little, almost grass-like leaves. This variety here is called Early Cheer, and it's aptly named. It blooms very, very early. In fact, some years it gets damaged by our frost and unpredictable weather. You can see here, it had already started coming up during our cold weather this year, and it got tip burned a little bit. But it's still very reliable. The only problem you ever have with it is that sometimes it gets so tall it flops. But this time it's come up just perfectly, and it's a double, and also, as you see, multiple blooms per stem, which is very interesting that they classify it just as a double and not a jonquil. Very fragrant as well. If you don't have daffodils already of your own, you can buy bulbs from many different places and plant those out in the fall. Plant 3 to 5, and they'll propagate very quickly. If you do have daffodils, they're very easy to divide and spread around. All you have to do is, after they finish blooming, just dig up the clump, divide them out, and put them wherever you want. That'll give them lots of time to establish roots over the warm weather months. And then you should have blooms the next year. Just make sure you leave the foliage on so that they will nourish the bulb over those intervening months. Whether you call them jonquils, buttercups, narcissus, or daffodils, there's absolutely no reason for you to not have daffodils in your own garden and in your own life. There's no flower less demanding.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.